You know, we say it all the time, right? I know. I know the answer. I know that person. I know the sky is blue. But have you ever stopped to think about what that really means? What does it actually mean to know something? It sounds so simple, but wow, it's one of the deepest, trickiest questions in all of philosophy. And the way we answer it, well, that changes just about everything.
Seriously? Just take a second. How do you know that you know something? I mean, really, truly know it. Is it just a gut feeling? Or is it about having a bunch of facts stored in your brain? This one little question, it's like a key that unlocks this huge, sprawling landscape of ideas that thinkers have been wandering through for thousands of years.
All right, section 1, the question of knowledge. So let's start with the problem itself. Because the theory of knowledge, it's not really about listing all the things we know. Nah, it's about digging deeper. It's about investigating the very act of knowing. Think of it like this. Instead of just looking at things, we're trying to understand how our eyes work in the first place.
And once you start down that path, man, it's like a labyrinth. It just explodes into all these other huge questions. Like, where does knowledge even come from? What's its essence, its core? What are its sources? And what about its limits? I mean, is there a point where we just can't know anymore? Can we really trust our senses? Or is it all about what we can figure out in our heads? And the biggest one of all, how is any of this related to truth? These are the heavy hitters, the big questions that philosophers have wrestled with forever. Okay, section 2, reason versus senses. So when people first started trying to figure out where knowledge comes from, historically, it pretty much split into two major camps. It was like this epic showdown. In one corner, you've got the power of the human mind, our ability to reason. And in the other corner, you've got everything we take in from the outside world through our five senses. And this really boils down to two big ideas, rationalism and empiricism. So the rationalists, they believed that real, true knowledge comes from the inside. It's born from our ability to reason, and maybe even from some ideas that we're just born with. You know, things like math or the idea of justice. You don't need to see it to get it. It's that famous line from Descartes, right? I think, therefore I am. The thinking mind is ground zero. But then the empiricists came along and said, no way. They argued that our minds start out as a total blank slate. Every single thing we know gets written on that slate by our experiences, by what we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. And you can see this whole debate captured perfectly in this famous painting. This goes way back. You've got Plato on one side, the ultimate rationalist, and he's pointing up. Why? Because for him, our physical world is just a shadow of a more real, perfect world of ideas. That's where true knowledge is. But then you have his student, Aristotle, the classic empiricist, and he's gesturing down to the ground. He's basically saying, hold on, truth is right here in the world we can actually observe. For him, knowledge had to start with what we can physically see, touch, and measure. So this whole debate is fantastic, right? But it kind of treats knowledge like it's a thing, an object you have to go find, either inside your head or out there in the world. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if knowledge isn't a thing at all? What if it's a relationship? Okay, section 3, knowledge as a relationship. Let's really dive into this idea, because it changes the game. We're going to look at knowledge not as something you have, but as an active, living connection. And this really does shift everything. So in this way of thinking, knowledge isn't some fact you just download and store in your brain. Instead, it's the active, conscious connection that gets built between a subject, that's you, the knower, and an object, whatever it is you're trying to know. It's less of a noun and more of a verb. It's like you're actively building a bridge from your mind out to the world. And this isn't passive at all. It's not like the world is just beaming information into your head. The subject, the person doing the knowing, has to consciously point their interest at the object. You have to literally open yourself up to the thing you want to understand, whether that's another person, a scientific concept, or a piece of music. It's a deliberate act of reaching out and connecting. Part 4, a transformative encounter. Okay, this is where the idea of a relationship gets really, really deep. Because if knowing is an encounter, then it's not just about collecting data. It's about being fundamentally changed by that encounter. And you know what's cool? The clues are hiding right there in our language. Take the French verb connaître, which is used for knowing a person or a place. It comes from the Latin cognoscere. And if you break that down, it literally means to be born all over again. Think about that. It suggests that the act of truly knowing something is so powerful, it's like being born all over again. You come out of it a different person. This isn't a new idea either. This really deep meaning of to know shows up in some of the oldest texts we have. For example, in the book of Genesis, the Bible uses the word "knew" to describe the most intimate, creative act between two people. We're not talking about knowing a fact here. This is knowledge as a profound, life-creating connection.
So, what does all this point to? It reveals a much deeper truth about knowledge. To really know something, or someone, isn't just to observe it from a distance. It's to enter into a relationship with it, a relationship so powerful that it changes you. It creates something new inside you, and maybe even in the world. It flips knowing from being a passive spectator to being an active participant.
And we see this kind of transformative knowing play out in all the most important areas of our lives, don't we? First, there's the relationship with ourselves, that endless journey of self-knowledge. Then there's the connection we forge with other people, and our relationship with the natural world, understanding our place in it. And for a lot of people, it extends to a relationship with something transcendent, something spiritual. Each one of these is a unique, powerful way of knowing.
So all of this leaves us with one last and maybe most important question. If every single act of knowing is a relationship that actually changes you, if it literally builds the person you become, then maybe the big question isn't what is knowledge anymore. Maybe the real question we should be asking ourselves is, what will I choose to know? Because in the end, what you know is who you are.